Yo, what's good, yo? It's Mr. Biggs back with my point of view. Today I want to talk about us men and our roles as fathers. So after my last upload, my oldest son called me because I shouted him and his brothers out. He called me, he was a bit emotional, right? The reason he's emotional is because his mom and I, we've been a little separated for a few months, and he's at an age to where he understands, but he doesn't understand, right? He doesn't understand it because in his eyes, all he wants is a happy family, right? Which is what all children should have and things of that nature. Unfortunately, we live in a world where things don't always go as planned. However, it doesn't make him any less my boy, any less her boy. It doesn't change what we're willing to do for him, right? Doesn't change what I'm willing to do for my other sons, my twin boys. I'm still their dad. I'm gonna be their dad to the day I can't breathe. Now, saying that, my two sons that are twins recently moved to Connecticut with their mom. Now, if you know about the Bronx, you know what's up. They live right there in 165 Washington. They right in the middle, smack dead in the middle of all the crazy nonsense, All the gang beefs and shit in the Bronx. They like right dead in the middle of it. You got everybody right in that area. And so I agreed to let them move to Connecticut with their mom, right? Because they were gonna have a better life experience overall, right? Let's say it like this. They're going from a building to a house with a backyard. And I feel like, you know what? I'd be the most selfish person on earth if I told them no and I fought against her to not let them go. That's very selfish. However, before they go, I do inform them, listen, y'all from New York. And the sad reality of being from New York is that most places that we go, people don't like us. They don't like our swag. And it's not just grown-ups, right? Clearly, because they're going through it with kids their own age. Long story short, my two sons get into some confrontation with some kids. They go to school with knives. They get arrested. Now they have juvenile records at the age of 12. Very disappointing for me because that's not what I wanted for them, right? When they was in the Bronx, they had to do that. They had to go through that. Where they was at in the Bronx, even though it was in the middle of a lot of shit, that's my neighborhood, right? I'm very well connected. Everybody know them. They was good. They never had to go through that, right? But again, it's back to our roles as men. Me saying no to that move would have been very selfish, right? And not at least trying to give them the opportunity to grow outside of what they see and what they know, right? So now my oldest boy, we FaceTime, we have a conversation. And he's like, yo, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I stopped hanging out with my friends a lot in the street and stuff of that nature. And going through it with my two younger boys, then to hear my older boy got the message, right? And he's pulling back and he's beginning to occupy his time in other ways. It brought me back to a reality of where, you're doing your job, right? I'm doing my job. As a father, as a man, to hear that my sons, my youngest sons were arrested and now have juvenile records, it broke my heart in the moment, right? It broke my heart in the moment. It's not the end of the world, but it broke my heart in the moment, right? Because I do so much and I've done so much to try to deter that, right? I work, man. I work. As long as my boy's been alive, all they know is daddy works. My oldest boy, all he knows is pops works. You know what I'm saying? All he knows is that if he really needs something, he can call me and I'll do whatever I can to make it happen, right? Because that's my role as a man. The biggest role as a man for us though, right, is to show them that a hard-working man is what you want to be, right? You want to be a hard-working man, be it behind a desk, be it physical labor. You want to be a hard-working man. You don't want to be like these kids out here giving up their life for these streets and getting absolutely none in return, right? They get none in return in these streets. They're not really making money. they not doing nothing. There's no love out here, right? All the love you're gonna get is gonna come from us. It's gonna come from your family. It's gonna come from your dad, from your mom, from your cousins, your uncles, etc., etc. And I say all that to say that even in my disappointment, when my oldest boy called me, it made me proud, right? Because just listening to him gave me, what should I say? It gave me like a confirmation that, you know what, you on the right path, right? My history's all fucked up, all bad. I done been to the worst places, done some of the worst things, and God had to stop me and slow me down, right? So that I could be here for these boys. And that's something that I take super, super serious. They didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask to be here. I created my twins, and my oldest boy was created before them, right? By his parents, right? But God gave me him, right? There's a role that I gotta play. There's a big role that I gotta play, especially for him. Again, there's things that I won't get into about his life, right? And things that he's had to endure in his little young life, right? But there's a reason that I'm here for him, right? And every day I call them, I text them, just to let them know I love them, man. Right? We know how boys are. Boys can be very independent. They're my boys, so they're very alpha, right? They're very alpha. But they love me, right? And that love is an irreplaceable love. This is something that I never want to see my kids in somebody's jail cell. I never want to see my kids under somebody else's control. These are not things that we're supposed to allow to happen as men, right? So what's going on in these streets is that a lot of these young boys don't have men in their life. They don't have a man to play a role, right? And then all of the other men that are around in a capacity, not gonna say what capacity, but they be around in capacities, they're not stepping up, right? And a lot of it is like, yo, those ain't my kids, that ain't my kid, fuck them kids, and da-da-da-da, right? But as these kids get older, right, it turns back around on you. If no one's paying attention, you got a lot of young men robbing old people. Now, when I was young, that was like you wasn't doing that, bro. We was helping the old people take their grocery bags to the crib. We was doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, my whole building, the Carver Projects, right? Shout out to Carver Projects, East Harlem in the building. My whole building 1410 Park Avenue, small building, 6 floors. Everybody knew each other, all right? If one of my neighbors needed help with something, we had it. We was gonna help, right? It's just what it was. We didn't think to disrespect our elders. We didn't, but we had elders there to tell us that we couldn't do that, right? Specifically grown men that were not gonna play that game with us. The lack of grown men in these streets is where the problem really lies. The problem is not with these kids, they're kids, right? So that under the law, anything under 18, these kids are not really able to make their own decisions legally, right? They're not. They need the guidance. They need people to be out here showing them that you actually care, right? See, that be the main thing. You gotta show these young boys that you actually care, right? My sons know me for being a father that will put his phone down, right? That'll cancel everything I got going on just to spend time with them. My sons know that about me. All of them know that about me, right? I never say no. If they need me, I'm there. It's 100% I'm there, right? Because I don't want them to go and do some other shit because I ain't show up and I ain't do my job, right? Gotta do our jobs, man. Gotta do our jobs, man. These children ain't asked to be here. We brung them here. We created these children. They ain't asked us, all right? And with that, the last line I'm gonna leave you with is, you know, getting old is mandatory. That's an age. That's a number. But growing up, that's a choice. And a lot of y'all need to grow up. It's Mr. Biggs. That's my point of view. Holla at me.